The light turned red. Jonathan Wright pressed his foot on the brake and watched the people crossing in front of his black Mercedes. His fiancée Vanessa sat beside him, scrolling through her phone and talking about wedding venues. He was not really listening. His mind was somewhere else, the way it often was these days. Then he saw her. A woman pushed a double stroller across the crosswalk. She wore a red cardigan over a simple white blouse. Her natural curly hair was pulled back in a ponytail. Even from inside the car, even after all this time, Jonathan knew exactly who she was. Nicole Patterson. The woman who had walked out of his life 14 months ago without a single word of explanation. The woman he had searched for. The woman he had tried to forget. The woman he had failed to forget. But it was not just Nicole that made his heart stop beating in his chest. It was what she was pushing. A double stroller. With 2 babies inside. 2 tiny babies dressed in matching yellow outfits. Jonathan's hands gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white. He could not breathe. He could not think. He could only stare as Nicole walked slowly across the crosswalk, her eyes fixed ahead, her face showing exhaustion that seemed bone deep. Then, as if she felt someone watching her, she looked up. Her eyes found his through the windshield. Those beautiful brown eyes he had dreamed about for over a year. Time stopped. The noise of the city disappeared. For 3 seconds that felt like 3 hours, they just stared at each other. Jonathan saw surprise flash across her face. Then something like pain. Then she looked away quickly and walked faster, pushing the stroller to the other side of the street. She did not look back. The light turned green. A car honked behind them. Jonathan. Jonathan, the light is green. What are you doing? Vanessa's voice broke through the fog in his mind. He pressed the gas pedal slowly, his eyes still following Nicole as she disappeared around a corner. Who was that woman you were staring at? Vanessa asked. Her voice had an edge to it now. No one, Jonathan said. The lie tasted bitter in his mouth. It did not look like no one. You looked like you saw a ghost. Jonathan said nothing. He kept driving, but his mind was racing faster than any car could go. Nicole was here. In this city. With babies. Twin babies from the look of it. Who was the father? When did she have them? Why did she look so tired, so worn down? Why did seeing her still make his chest ache like this? Before we continue this story, I have to ask you something important. Imagine being Nicole. Imagine crossing that street with 2 babies, alone, exhausted, barely making ends meet. And then you look up and see the man you once loved more than anything, the man who broke your heart, sitting in his expensive car with another woman beside him. What would you feel in that moment? If this story is already touching your heart, please subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss what happens next. Drop a comment below and tell me, do you think Jonathan deserves to know the truth about those twins? Your opinion matters. Now let us continue. Jonathan dropped Vanessa at her apartment. She wanted him to come inside, but he said he had work to finish. Another lie. The lies were piling up lately. He drove aimlessly through the city for an hour. His mind kept returning to the same questions. Nicole had left him 14 months ago. Those babies looked about 4 months old. That meant she would have gotten pregnant about 13 months ago. Right before she left. Or right after. The math did something strange to his heart. He parked near the waterfront and stared at the evening sky. The sun was setting, painting everything in shades of orange and pink. He remembered the first time he met Nicole. It was 3 years ago at a charity event his company sponsored. She was working as a volunteer helping serve food to guests. She had spilled a drink on his suit. She had been so embarrassed. She kept apologizing. He had laughed and told her it was the most interesting thing that happened to him all evening. Her smile when she finally relaxed had changed something in him. They dated for 2 years. 2 of the best years of his life. Nicole was different from everyone else in his world. She did not care about his money. She cared about him. She made him laugh. She called him out when he was being arrogant. She made his cold penthouse feel like a home. Then one day she was gone. No note. No call. No text. She just vanished. Her apartment was empty. Her phone was disconnected. Her friends would not tell him anything. It was like she had erased herself from his life completely. He searched for her for months. He hired investigators. He called everyone who might know where she was. Nothing. She had disappeared. Eventually he gave up. He told himself she must not have loved him the way he loved her. He told himself to move on. 6 months ago he started dating Vanessa. She was beautiful and sophisticated and moved in the same circles he did. 3 months ago she hinted that she wanted more. He proposed because it seemed like the logical next step. Because everyone expected it. Because he was tired of being alone. but he did not love Vanessa. He knew that now, watching the sunset and thinking about a woman in a red cardigan pushing a stroller. He still loved Nicole. He had never stopped. Jonathan pulled out his phone and called his assistant Gregory. "Gregory, I need you to find someone for me. Her name is Nicole Patterson. I need her current address. I need to know everything about her life right now." "Of course, Mr. Wright. I will have the information for you by morning." Jonathan ended the call and stared at the darkening sky. Tomorrow he would get answers. Tomorrow he would find out why Nicole left. Tomorrow he would see those babies again and figure out why they made his heart feel like it was being squeezed by an invisible hand. Tomorrow his life was going to change. He just did not know yet how much. To understand what happened at that crosswalk, we need to go back to the beginning. We need to go back to when Jonathan Wright and Nicole Patterson fell in love. It started with a spilled drink and ended with a broken heart. But the middle, the beautiful middle, that is the part worth remembering. Nicole was 25 when she met Jonathan. She was working 3 jobs to pay off her student loans and help her grandmother Ruth with medical bills. The charity event was a side gig, just one night of serving fancy people fancy food for decent money. She did not expect to meet a billionaire. She definitely did not expect to spill champagne on one. Jonathan was 30 at the time. Young for a CEO, but he had built Wright Industries from a small startup into a technology giant in just 8 years. He was used to people treating him differently because of his money. He was used to women who wanted his wealth more than they wanted him. Nicole was refreshing because she had no idea who he was at first. And when she found out, she did not change. She still teased him. She still rolled her eyes when he said something arrogant. She still made him earn every smile. Their first date was at a small diner near the hospital where Nicole worked as a nurse. Jonathan had offered to take her somewhere expensive, but she said she wanted a cheeseburger. He ate the best cheeseburger of his life that night. Or maybe it just tasted better because she was sitting across from him, laughing at his jokes and stealing his fries. They dated for 6 months before Jonathan told her he loved her. They were sitting on the roof of his penthouse watching the city lights below. Nicole was wearing one of his sweaters because she had gotten cold. She looked so beautiful in that moment that the words just came out. "I love you, Nicole." She had looked at him with those warm brown eyes and smiled. "I love you too, Jonathan. Even though you are ridiculously bad at folding laundry." He had laughed and kissed her and everything felt perfect. But not everyone was happy about their relationship. Vanessa Moore had known Jonathan for years. They moved in the same business circles. She had always found him attractive, always thought they would make a good match. When she heard he was dating a nurse, a regular woman with no connections or wealth, she was confused. When she met Nicole and saw how Jonathan looked at her, she was jealous. Vanessa was patient. She waited. She watched. She looked for weaknesses. She found them. Nicole's biggest fear was that she did not belong in Jonathan's world. She felt out of place at his fancy events. She worried that people looked down on her. She worried that Jonathan would eventually realize he could do better. Vanessa used these fears like tools. It started small. A comment here and there when Jonathan was not around. "Oh Nicole, that dress is so brave of you. I could never wear something so simple to an event like this. Jonathan must really love you to bring you to these things. Most men in his position would be embarrassed. You are so lucky he does not care what people think. His mother certainly has opinions though." Each comment was like a small cut. Alone they meant nothing. But together, over time, they bled Nicole's confidence dry. Then came the night that changed everything. Jonathan was away on a business trip. Nicole was at home, feeling lonely and insecure after another difficult day. Vanessa showed up at her door with a bottle of wine and a friendly smile. "I thought you might want some company," Vanessa said. "Jonathan asked me to check on you." Nicole let her in. That was her first mistake. They talked for an hour. Vanessa was charming and sympathetic. She listened to Nicole's worries. She nodded in all the right places. Then she pulled out her phone. "I hate to show you this," Vanessa said, her voice dripping with false concern. "But I think you deserve to know the truth. Jonathan has been sending me these messages." She showed Nicole a series of texts. In them, Jonathan talked about Nicole as a temporary distraction. He said he was getting bored. He said Vanessa was the kind of woman he should really be with. He said Nicole would never fit into his world. The messages were fake. Vanessa had created them using a program that made them look real. But Nicole did not know that. All she saw were words that confirmed every fear she had ever had. "I am so sorry," Vanessa said, putting an arm around Nicole as she cried. "I thought you should know before you got hurt even more. Jonathan is not who you think he is." Nicole did not sleep that night. She read those fake messages over and over until her eyes burned. By morning she had made a decision. She would leave before Jonathan could leave her first. She would walk away with whatever dignity she had left. She packed her things. She disconnected her phone. She moved to the other side of the city to live with her grandmother Ruth. She disappeared from Jonathan's life completely. She never gave him a chance to explain. She never knew the messages were lies. And 3 weeks after she left, she found out she was pregnant with his children. Morning came and with it came answers. Gregory appeared at Jonathan's office at exactly 9 o'clock, a folder in his hands. He was a man of precision and loyalty, two qualities Jonathan valued above all others. Gregory had worked for Wright Industries for 15 years, and he had never let Jonathan down. "I found her, Mr. Wright." Jonathan set down his coffee cup. His hand was trembling slightly. "Where?" "She is living in an apartment on the east side of the city. Small building, affordable neighborhood. She works part-time at a community health clinic 3 days a week. She has twin babies, a boy and a girl born 4 months ago. Their names are Ethan and Ellie." Ethan and Ellie. Jonathan repeated the names silently in his mind. They were beautiful names. He wondered who chose them. What about the father? The question hurt to ask, but he needed to know. Gregory hesitated. "There is no father listed on the birth certificate, sir. She appears to be raising them alone. No record of any man living with her or visiting regularly." Jonathan felt something strange bloom in his chest. Hope. Terrible, wonderful hope. What else? "She moved in with her grandmother Ruth Patterson after she left you. The grandmother has a small house in the suburbs. Nicole lived there during her pregnancy. She moved to the apartment 6 months ago, after the babies were born. She appears to be struggling financially. Multiple bills, no savings, working as much as she can while caring for 2 infants." The image of Nicole at the crosswalk came back to Jonathan. The tired eyes, the worn clothes, the old stroller. She was struggling and he had been living in luxury, completely unaware. "Thank you, Gregory. I will take it from here." Gregory placed the folder on Jonathan's desk. "If I may say something, sir?" "Go ahead." "I was here when Miss Patterson left. I saw what it did to you. Whatever happened between you two, I do not think she left because she stopped caring. The way she looked at you was not something a person fakes." Jonathan nodded slowly. "I am starting to think the same thing." After Gregory left, Jonathan sat with the folder for a long time. He had her address now. He could go see her. But what would he say? How would he explain showing up after all this time? And there was another problem. Vanessa. He was engaged to Vanessa. He was supposed to marry her in 4 months. She had already chosen the venue, the flowers, the caterer. Her face was on his arm at every event. Her name was next to his in every headline. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw Nicole crossing that street with her babies. His phone buzzed. Vanessa's name appeared on the screen. "Darling, are you free for lunch? I found the most perfect cake for the wedding. You simply must come taste it with me." Jonathan looked at the folder on his desk. At the address written in Gregory's neat handwriting. At the small photo of Nicole that Gregory had included, taken from a distance. She was walking down a street, pushing the stroller, looking straight ahead. She looked beautiful. She looked exhausted. She looked like someone carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. "I cannot today," he told Vanessa. "Something came up at work." "Again? Jonathan, you have been so distant lately. Ever since yesterday. What is going on with you?" "Nothing. I just have a lot on my mind. We will do lunch tomorrow, I promise." He ended the call before she could argue. Then he grabbed his jacket, picked up the folder, and headed for the door. He had questions. Nicole had answers. It was time to find out the truth. Jonathan drove to Nicole's old apartment first. The building manager told him she had moved out over a year ago. No forwarding address. Dead end. But the folder had another address. Ruth Patterson. Nicole's grandmother. The drive to the suburbs took 40 minutes. The house was small but well kept, with a garden full of flowers in the front yard. Jonathan parked across the street and sat in his car for 10 minutes, trying to gather his courage. What if Ruth slammed the door in his face? What if Nicole had told her terrible things about him? What if he was not welcome here? Only one way to find out. He walked up the path and knocked on the door. A minute passed. Then another. He was about to knock again when the door opened. Ruth Patterson was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She looked at Jonathan without any warmth. Clearly she knew who he was. "Mr. Wright," she said. Her voice was flat. "I wondered when you would show up. Mrs. Patterson, I know I have no right to be here. But I need to talk to you about Nicole. Please. I am trying to understand what happened. Ruth studied him for a long moment. Jonathan felt like she was looking straight through him, seeing every mistake he had ever made. You have some nerve coming here, she said finally. After what you did to my granddaughter. What I did. Mrs. Patterson, I did not do anything. She left me without a word. I spent months trying to find her. I had no idea where she was or why she left. Something flickered in Ruth's eyes. Surprise maybe. Or doubt. She said you were going to leave her. That she was just a distraction to you. That you had been saying terrible things about her to another woman. Jonathan felt the blood drain from his face. I never said any of those things. I loved Nicole. I wanted to marry her. I had a ring picked out. I was going to propose the week she disappeared. Ruth's hand tightened on the door frame. She showed me messages. On that woman's phone. Messages from you. What woman? Blonde. Tall. Fancy clothes. Vanessa something. The pieces clicked into place. Suddenly, horribly, everything made sense. Vanessa. It was Vanessa. Jonathan felt sick. Those messages were fake. I never wrote them. Mrs. Patterson, I swear to you on everything I have, I never wrote anything like that. I loved your granddaughter with my whole heart. Vanessa must have created those messages to break us apart. Ruth searched his face. Whatever she saw there must have convinced her, because her expression softened slightly. Come inside, she said. I think we need to have a long talk. Ruth's living room was small and comfortable, filled with photographs and crocheted blankets. Jonathan sat on a floral couch while Ruth made tea. He looked at the pictures on the walls and the shelves. Most of them were of Nicole at various ages. Nicole as a gap-toothed child. Nicole in a graduation gown. Nicole holding 2 tiny bundles in her arms, her face glowing despite the obvious exhaustion. That last picture made Jonathan's heart ache. Ruth returned with 2 cups of tea. She handed one to Jonathan and sat across from him in an old rocking chair. Tell me everything, she said. From the beginning. So Jonathan did. He told her about meeting Nicole at the charity event. About falling in love with her. About planning to propose. About coming home from his business trip to find her gone without a trace. About searching for her for months. About the hollow feeling in his chest that never went away. Ruth listened without interrupting. When he finished, she sipped her tea and rocked slowly in her chair. My Nicole came home to me in pieces, she said. Crying so hard she could not breathe. She said you never really loved her. That you were ashamed of her. That you had been laughing about her with some woman named Vanessa. I wanted to find you and give you a piece of my mind, but Nicole begged me not to. She just wanted to forget you and move on. It was all lies, Jonathan said. His voice was thick with emotion. Every word of it. Vanessa manipulated her. Vanessa manipulated both of us. I believe you, Ruth said. I can see it in your eyes. The pain is real. You loved her. I still love her. Ruth nodded slowly. She found out she was pregnant 3 weeks after she came to me. She was terrified. She thought about reaching out to you, but she was convinced you would not want anything to do with her or the babies. That Vanessa woman had done her job well. The babies, Jonathan whispered. Mrs. Patterson, I have to ask. Those twins, are they mine? Ruth looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled just a little. My granddaughter has only ever been with one man in her life, Mr. Wright. She loved you too much to look at anyone else. Those babies have your eyes. Figure it out yourself. The room spun. Jonathan gripped the arm of the couch to steady himself. He was a father. He had 2 children. A son and a daughter. Ethan and Ellie. They had his eyes. Why did she not tell me? He asked when he could speak again. Fear. Pride. Pain. Take your pick. She believed those lies with her whole heart. She thought you would reject her and the babies. She thought she was protecting herself and her children from more hurt. Jonathan felt tears sting his eyes. He had missed everything. The pregnancy. The birth. The first 4 months of his children's lives. All because of Vanessa's lies. I need to see her, he said. I need to explain. I need to make this right. Ruth reached into her pocket and pulled out a piece of paper. This is her address. She works at the community clinic on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so she will be home with the babies. Jonathan took the paper with shaking hands. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do not thank me yet, Ruth said. Nicole is stubborn. She has built walls around her heart to protect herself. Getting through to her will not be easy. She has been hurt badly, and she has convinced herself that she and those babies do not need anyone but each other. I am not going to give up. Ruth smiled again, wider this time. Good. Because she deserves someone who will fight for her. Now go on. You have a lot of planning to do. Jonathan stood and headed for the door. Then he stopped and turned back. Mrs. Patterson, I have to ask. How did she manage? Alone with 2 babies working part-time. How did she survive? Ruth's smile faded. She barely did. There were nights she did not eat so the grocery budget would stretch further. There were days she worked until she could not stand because she needed the money. She has given everything to those children. Everything. And she has never complained. Not once. The words hit Jonathan like punches to the stomach. Nicole had suffered. She had struggled. She had sacrificed. All while he was living in luxury, engaged to the woman who had caused all this pain. That ends now, he said quietly. I promise you. That ends now. Nicole's apartment building was old but clean. Jonathan found her unit on the 3rd floor and stood outside the door for 5 full minutes before he found the courage to knock. He heard movement inside. Then the door opened and there she was. Nicole looked at him with wide eyes. She was wearing a green blouse and worn jeans. Her hair was loose around her shoulders. She was even more beautiful than he remembered. Jonathan. Her voice was barely a whisper. What are you doing here? I need to talk to you. Please, Nicole. Give me 10 minutes. She glanced back into the apartment. He heard a baby make a small sound. This is not a good time. The twins just woke up from their nap. Please. He did not care that he was begging. 10 minutes. That is all I am asking. Nicole hesitated. Then she stepped back and opened the door wider. Fine. 10 minutes. The apartment was tiny. A small living room connected to a kitchen so small 2 people could not stand in it at the same time. One bedroom with the door half open, revealing 2 cribs pushed close together. The furniture was old and mismatched. But everything was spotlessly clean, and there were touches of warmth everywhere. Yellow curtains. A vase of fresh flowers on the windowsill. Photographs of the babies on every surface. A playpen sat in the corner of the living room. Inside it, 2 babies lay on their backs looking up at the ceiling. Jonathan moved toward them without thinking. He knelt down beside the playpen and looked at his children for the first time. They were beautiful. Perfect. The boy Ethan had Jonathan's blue eyes and Nicole's nose. The girl Ellie had Nicole's beautiful brown skin and Jonathan's determined chin. They looked up at him with curious expressions, and something inside Jonathan broke wide open. They are perfect, he said, his voice rough with emotion. They are. Nicole stood behind him, her arms crossed. Why are you here, Jonathan? How did you find me? He stood up and faced her. I saw you at the Crosswalk 2 days ago. I asked my assistant to find your address. I spoke to your grandmother yesterday. Nicole's expression shifted. You talked to Grandma Ruth? Yes. And she told me things that I need to discuss with you. Nicole, please sit down. What I have to say is important. She sat on the worn couch. Jonathan sat across from her on a chair that creaked under his weight. The babies made soft sounds in their playpen. The apartment was quiet otherwise. I know why you left, Jonathan said. Your grandmother told me about the messages. The ones Vanessa showed you. Nicole's face went pale. How does my grandmother know about Vanessa? Because I told her. Nicole, I figured it out. Vanessa showed you fake messages. Messages I never wrote. She lied to you to break us apart. That is not possible. I saw the messages. They were from your phone. They were faked. Created with software. Nicole, I never said any of those things. I never thought any of those things. I loved you. I wanted to marry you. I had a ring. I was going to propose the week you disappeared. Nicole stared at him. Her eyes were shining with tears she was trying not to shed. You were going to propose? Yes. I was waiting for the right moment. Then you were gone and I did not know why and I spent months trying to find you. I never stopped looking. I never stopped wondering what I did wrong. You did not do anything wrong. Her voice cracked. I thought, Vanessa said, the messages said. I know. I know what she made you believe. But it was all lies. Every word. Jonathan leaned forward. Nicole, I am so sorry. I'm sorry you went through this alone. I'm sorry you struggled. I am sorry I was not there for the pregnancy, for the birth, for any of it. But I am here now. And I want to make things right. The tears spilled down Nicole's cheeks. She wiped them away quickly, like she was ashamed to be crying. I do not know what to say. Say you will let me help. Say you will let me be part of their lives. Our children's lives. The words felt strange and wonderful on his tongue. Our children. You know they are yours? Yes. Your grandmother did not tell me directly, but she made it clear. And I can see it. Ethan has my eyes. Nicole let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. He does. He looks at me with those blue eyes and I see you. Every single day. Let me help, Jonathan said. Please. I know you have been doing this alone, but you do not have to anymore. Let me be a father to them. Let me take care of you, all three of you. I do not need taking care of. I have been fine on my own. I know you have. You are the strongest person I have ever met. But fine is not the same as good. Fine is not the same as happy. Let me help you more than fine. Let me help you be happy. Nicole looked at the babies in the playpen. Ellie was chewing on her fist. Ethan was trying to grab his own feet. They were her whole world. She had sacrificed everything for them. And now their father was sitting in her living room, offering her everything she had been too proud and too hurt to ask for. Okay, she said quietly. Okay. You can help. Jonathan's heart soared. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Do not make me regret it. I will not. I promise you I will not. He stood up. I'm going to get some things. Groceries. Baby supplies. Whatever you need. Make me a list. Jonathan, you do not have to. I want to. Please. Let me do this. She nodded slowly. There is a list on the refrigerator. Things I have been putting off buying because they cost too much. Jonathan walked to the kitchen and found the list. It was long. Diapers. Formula. New bottles. Baby clothes in the next size up. Groceries. Household supplies. His heart ached at how much he had been doing without. I will be back in an hour, he said. You really do not have to. I know. But I want to. For them. For you. For us. He left before she could argue any more. An hour later he returned with his car full of bags. He had bought everything on her list and more. He had bought things she had not even thought to ask for. He carried bag after bag into the tiny apartment while Nicole watched with wide eyes. This is too much, she said. It is not enough, he replied. Not nearly enough. But it is a start. Over the next 2 weeks, Jonathan visited Nicole's apartment every day. He came in the mornings with coffee and pastries. He came in the evenings with dinner from her favorite restaurants. He played with the babies for hours, learning their sounds and their expressions and their tiny personalities. Ethan was the serious one. He watched everything with solemn blue eyes, like he was trying to figure out how the world worked. Ellie was the social one. She smiled at everyone and babbled constantly, like she had important things to say but had not quite figured out words yet. Jonathan fell more in love with them every day. And he fell more in love with Nicole too. Watching her with the babies. Seeing how patient she was, how gentle, how devoted. She was an amazing mother. The best mother he had ever seen. But there were still questions. Still conversations they had been avoiding. One evening, after the twins were asleep, Jonathan and Nicole sat on her couch with cups of tea. The apartment was quiet. The city lights glowed outside the window. Can I ask you something? Jonathan said. You can ask. I might not answer. Fair enough. He took a breath. When you found out you were pregnant, did you ever consider telling me? Nicole was silent for a long moment. Yes, 1,000 times. I would pick up my phone and start typing a message. Then I would remember those texts Vanessa showed me. The ones where you called me a distraction. The ones where you said I would never fit into your world. And I would put the phone down. I never wrote those things. I know that now. But I did not know it then. I was convinced you would laugh at me. Or worse, that you would offer me money to go away quietly. I could not bear either of those possibilities. So I stayed silent. I would never have done those things. I would have been there. For every doctor's appointment, every ultrasound, every midnight craving. I would have been there for the birth. I would have held your hand and told you how amazing you are. Nicole's eyes filled with tears. I wanted that. So badly. But I was scared. Jonathan reached out and took her hand. She did not pull away. I understand, he said. I'm not angry. I'm just sad that we lost so much time. But we have now. We have the future. That is what matters. What about Vanessa? Nicole asked. You are engaged to her. Jonathan's jaw tightened. Not for much longer. You have not ended it yet? No. I wanted to gather evidence first. I wanted to prove what she did before I confronted her. Gregory has been helping me. He found records of her buying the software used to fake text messages. He found other things too. She has been manipulating situations between us for years, long before she showed you those fake texts. So she has been planning this for a long time. Apparently. Jonathan's voice was hard. She wanted you gone so she could take your place. And it worked. For a while. But not anymore. Nicole squeezed his hand. I'm sorry. I know this must be hard. You were going to marry her. I was going to marry her because I thought I could not have you. Because I thought you were gone forever. She was never who I wanted. You have always been the only one, Nicole. Always. They sat in silence for a while. The babies made small sounds in their sleep from the bedroom. Outside, a car passed by on the street below. I never stopped loving you, Nicole whispered. I tried. I tried so hard. But every time I looked at the twins I saw you. And it broke my heart a little more each day. Jonathan moved closer and cupped her face in his hands. Then let us stop breaking our hearts. Let us fix this. Together. He kissed her gently. It was not a passionate kiss. It was a promise. A beginning. A hope. When they pulled apart, Nicole was smiling through her tears. Together, she agreed. Before we continue, I want to ask you something. Nicole spent over a year believing lies. She struggled alone. She raised 2 babies by herself because she thought the man she loved did not want her. Have you ever believed something about someone that later turned out to be completely wrong? Have you ever lost someone because of a misunderstanding? Subscribe to this channel and share your story in the comments. We are building a community here, one story at a time. Your experience might help someone else going through the same thing. Now, let us see what happens when Jonathan confronts Vanessa. Jonathan called Vanessa the next morning and asked her to meet him at his office. She arrived wearing a red designer dress and a pleased smile, probably expecting wedding talk or romantic gestures. She was in for a surprise. Darling, she said, crossing the office to kiss him. Jonathan stepped back before she could reach him. Her smile faltered. Sit down, Vanessa. We need to talk. That sounds serious. She sat in the chair across from his desk, crossing her legs elegantly. What is wrong? Jonathan opened a folder on his desk. Inside were printouts, records, and photographs. Evidence Gregory had gathered over the past 2 weeks. 14 months ago you showed Nicole Patterson fake text messages. Messages you created using software designed to forge conversations. You told her I was planning to leave her. You told her I thought she was just a distraction. Vanessa's face went pale, but she recovered quickly. I have no idea what you are talking about. Really? Jonathan pulled out a receipt. This is a purchase confirmation for Fake Chat Pro, bought using your credit card, 3 days before Nicole disappeared. Here is the download record from your computer. Here are screenshots Gregory recovered from the program's cache, showing exactly what messages you created. Vanessa's composure cracked. She grabbed the papers, scanning them with wide eyes. This is ridiculous. These could be faked. Someone is setting me up. There is more. Jonathan pulled out another document. Statements from 2 of your friends who you apparently bragged to about how you got rid of Nicole. They were happy to talk when Gregory explained the situation. Those women are liars. They are jealous of me. And this. Jonathan placed a final paper on the desk. A recording of a conversation you had with your sister 3 months ago. You told her the whole story. How you manipulated Nicole. How you showed her fake messages. How you have been waiting years for me to forget about her so you could step in. Vanessa stared at the paper. The recording transcript was printed in full. Every incriminating word she had said to her sister was there in black and white. The color drained from her face. Her elegant mask crumbled. For the first time since Jonathan had known her, Vanessa Moore looked afraid. Jonathan, I can explain. Can you? Can you explain why you destroyed my relationship with the woman I loved? Can you explain why you made her believe I did not want her? Can you explain why she spent over a year alone, pregnant and struggling because of your lies? I did it for us. Vanessa's voice was desperate now. I did it because I love you. Nicole was not right for you. She was not in your league. I knew you would see that eventually, but she was making you wait. I just sped things up. You did not do it for us. You did it for yourself. Because you wanted my money. My status. My name. You never loved me, Vanessa. You loved what I could give you. That is not true. It is. Jonathan stood up and walked to the window. The city spread out below him, vast and indifferent. I spoke to your sister myself yesterday. She confirmed everything. She said you have been planning to marry a wealthy man since you were 20. I was just the target you picked. Vanessa was crying now. Actual tears running down her face. But Jonathan felt nothing. No sympathy. No compassion. Just cold, hard anger. The engagement is over, he said without turning around. I want you to return the ring by the end of the day. If you do not, I will have my lawyers contact you. You cannot do this. The wedding is in 4 months. The invitations have been sent. Then uninvite them. I do not care how you handle it. Just handle it. Jonathan, please. Vanessa stood up and walked toward him. I made a mistake. I know that now. But we can work through this. We can still be happy together. He turned to face her. His expression was stone. I am going to say this once, so listen carefully. You took away 14 months of my life. You took away my relationship with the woman I love. You took away my chance to be there when my children were born. You caused more pain than you will ever understand. And you did it all for your own selfish reasons. Your children? Vanessa's eyes widened. Nicole has your children? Twins. A boy and a girl. They are 4 months old and I have missed every day of their lives because of you. Vanessa's face twisted with something ugly. Jealousy. Hatred. Spite. So that is what this is about. She comes back with some babies, claims they are yours, and you believe her. How do you even know they are really your children? She could be lying. They have my eyes, Jonathan said coldly. And Nicole has never lied to me. Not once in the entire time I have known her. Which is more than I can say for you. He walked to the door and opened it. Gregory is waiting outside to escort you out of the building. Security has been informed that you are no longer welcome at Wright Industries or any of my properties. If you try to contact me, Nicole, or my children, I will get a restraining order. Do you understand? Vanessa stood frozen, her face a mask of disbelief and fury. You will regret this, she said. One day, you will realize that she is not good enough for you, and you will come crawling back to me. Goodbye, Vanessa. He held the door open. Gregory appeared in the hallway, waiting patiently. Vanessa gathered what remained of her dignity and walked out. She did not look back. Gregory followed her, making sure she left the building without incident. Jonathan closed his office door and leaned against it. His heart was racing. His hands were shaking. But for the first time in 14 months he felt free. It was over. The lies were exposed. The truth was finally out. Now he could focus on what really mattered. Nicole. The twins. Building the family he had always wanted. 2 days after ending his engagement, Jonathan drove to Nicole's apartment with something important to discuss. Nicole opened the door with Ellie in her arms. The baby girl smiled at Jonathan and reached for him with chubby hands. He took her gently, cradling her against his chest. She loves you, Nicole said softly. I love her too. Both of them. More than I knew I could love anything. They went inside. Ethan was in his playpen, staring seriously at a colorful toy. Jonathan sat on the couch with Ellie while Nicole made coffee. I ended the engagement, Jonathan said. It is done. Nicole turned from the kitchen counter. How did she take it? Badly. But I do not care. She deserved worse. He paused. There is something else I want to talk to you about. I want you to meet my mother. Nicole nearly dropped the coffee cups. Your mother? Yes. She needs to know about the twins. She needs to know about us. Jonathan, your mother never liked me. When we were dating, she made it very clear that she thought you could do better. She was wrong. And I think if she meets Ethan and Ellie, she will see that. Jonathan shifted Ellie to his other arm. My mother is not a bad person. She is just protective. She has seen too many people try to take advantage of me because of my money. She was suspicious of everyone I dated. But when she sees how much I love you, when she sees her grandchildren, I think she will come around. Nicole bit her lip. I do not know. What if she does not accept us? What if she makes things difficult? Then we will handle it together. But I want to try. I want my children to know their grandmother. I want my mother to know what real love looks like. Nicole was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, we will try. 3 days later, Jonathan brought Nicole and the twins to the Wright mansion. It was a massive estate on the outskirts of the city, surrounded by gardens and old trees. Nicole had been there twice before during her relationship with Jonathan. Both times, his mother Eleanor had treated her like a temporary inconvenience. Things were different now. Eleanor Wright met them at the door. She was an elegant woman in her 60s, with silver hair and sharp blue eyes, the same blue eyes she had passed to her son and her grandson. She looked at Nicole. She looked at the babies in their carriers. Her expression was unreadable. So, she said, these are my grandchildren. Yes, Jonathan said. Mother, this is Ethan and this is Ellie. They are 4 months old. Eleanor bent down to look at the babies more closely. Ethan stared back at her with his serious blue eyes. Ellie smiled and gurgled. Something softened in Eleanor's face. Just a little. Just enough. They have our eyes, she said quietly. They do. Eleanor straightened and looked at Nicole. I owe you an apology, Miss Patterson. I was unkind to you when Jonathan first brought you home. I judged you unfairly. That was wrong of me. Nicole blinked in surprise. Mrs. Wright, Please let me finish. My son has explained everything. About Vanessa's lies. About what you went through alone. I am ashamed that my coldness might have contributed to your doubts. About belonging in our family. She took a breath. You are the mother of my grandchildren. That makes you family whether I was ready to accept it or not. I hope you can forgive an old woman's mistakes. Nicole felt tears prick her eyes. Of course. Thank you, Mrs. Wright. Please call me Eleanor. She reached out and took Nicole's hand. Welcome to the family. Properly this time. The visit went better than anyone expected. Eleanor held each baby and cooed at them in a way Jonathan had never seen before. She asked Nicole questions about their development, their personalities, their routines. She offered to help with anything Nicole needed. By the end of the afternoon, something had shifted. The walls between them had come down. They were not exactly friends yet, but they were no longer enemies. They were family, learning how to be family together. As they drove home, Nicole looked at Jonathan with wonder in her eyes. That was not what I expected. I know. My mother can be surprising. He reached over and took her hand. How do you feel? Good. Really good. Like maybe everything is going to be okay. It is. I promise you, Nicole. Everything is going to be more than okay. It is going to be wonderful. In the weeks that followed, life changed rapidly for Nicole and the twins. Jonathan helped her move out of the cramped apartment and into a beautiful townhouse near his own home. It had 3 bedrooms, a sunny nursery for the babies, and a garden where they could play when they got older. Nicole protested at first, said it was too much, but Jonathan insisted and she eventually accepted with gratitude. This is for our children, he said. They deserve a good home. And so do you. Nicole's friend Tamara came to see the new place and nearly cried with happiness. This is amazing, Tamara said, walking through the rooms. Nicole, you deserve this. After everything you have been through, you deserve every bit of this. I still cannot believe it is real sometimes. Believe it. Tamara hugged her tight. You found your way back to each other. That is beautiful. Jonathan did not rush Nicole. He visited every day, spent time with the babies, helped with feedings and diaper changes and late-night fussiness. But he did not push for more than she was ready to give. He let her set the pace. They went on dates. Simple things at first. Coffee at a quiet cafe. Walks in the park with the double stroller. Dinner at restaurants that reminded them of their early days together. They talked for hours, rebuilding the connection they had lost, learning who they had become in the time apart. Nicole found that she loved him more now than before. He was not just the charming billionaire she had fallen for 3 years ago. He was a devoted father. A patient partner. A man who had suffered too and come out the other side still believing in love. 2 months after they reunited, Jonathan took Nicole to the rooftop of his building. The same rooftop where he had first told her he loved her. The city spread out below them, a sea of lights in the darkness. This place holds a lot of memories, Nicole said. It does. Jonathan reached into his pocket. I wanted to make one more memory here. He pulled out a small velvet box. Nicole's breath caught in her throat. Nicole Patterson, Jonathan said, opening the box to reveal a beautiful ring. I have loved you for 3 years. I loved you when you were here and I loved you when you were gone. I loved you before I knew you were carrying our children, and I love you even more now that I know them. You are the kindest, strongest, most beautiful woman I have ever known. Will you do me the honor of becoming my wife? Nicole looked at the ring. Looked at Jonathan. Looked at the city lights and the stars above. Yes, she whispered. Then stronger, yes. Yes, I will marry you. Jonathan slid the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. Then he kissed her, and the world fell away, and there was nothing but the two of them and the promise of forever. Grandma Ruth cried when they told her the news. Happy tears that she wiped away with a handkerchief embroidered with flowers. I always knew you two would find your way back, she said. Love like yours does not just disappear. Eleanor sent a bottle of expensive champagne and a handwritten note congratulating them. She also included a family heirloom, a pearl bracelet that had belonged to Jonathan's grandmother, and asked Nicole to wear it at the wedding. Tamara immediately started planning a shower. And the twins, too young to understand what was happening, simply smiled and babbled and brought joy to everyone around them. The months of struggle, of loneliness, of pain, they were not forgotten. They had shaped Nicole into who she was. But they were behind her now. Ahead was something better. Something full of hope and love and family. Everything she had ever wanted. Everything she deserved. The wedding was held on a warm spring afternoon in Eleanor Wright's garden. Cherry blossoms drifted through the air like pink snow. White chairs lined a grassy aisle. Friends and family gathered to witness the union of two people who had found their way back to each other against all odds. Nicole wore a beautiful blue and white gown that sparkled in the sunlight. She had chosen blue because it was the color of Jonathan's eyes. The color of Ethan's eyes. A color that meant hope and sky and endless possibility. Grandma Ruth sat in the front row, dabbing at her eyes. Eleanor sat beside her, holding little Ellie, who was dressed in a tiny pink dress with matching bows. Ethan was in Jonathan's mother's other arm, wearing a miniature suit that made everyone who saw him melt. Tamara stood beside Nicole as her maid of honor, radiant in a maroon dress that complemented her friend's gown. Gregory stood beside Jonathan as his best man, proud and steady as always. The minister spoke about love and commitment and second chances. About how sometimes life takes us on unexpected paths, but if we are lucky, those paths lead us back to where we belong. Then it was time for the vows. Jonathan went first. He held Nicole's hands and looked into her eyes. Nicole, I fell in love with you the night you spilled champagne on my suit. I knew then that you were different from everyone else. You saw me, not my money or my name, but me. And you made me want to be better than I was. He paused, his voice thick with emotion. I made a promise to you once on a rooftop that I would love you forever. I'm making that promise again now. I will love you in the good times and the hard times. I will support you in your dreams. I will be there for you and our children, every single day for the rest of my life. You are my heart, Nicole. You always have been. Nicole felt tears streaming down her face, but she did not care. Let everyone see how happy she was. Her turn. Jonathan, I spent over a year believing lies about you. I convinced myself that you did not want me, that I was not good enough for your world. But even when I believed those lies, I never stopped loving you. Even when I tried to forget you, I saw your eyes every time I looked at our children. She squeezed his hands tighter. You found me when I thought I was lost. You fought for us when I had given up. You showed me that love is not about being perfect. It is about showing up, again and again, even when things are hard. I promise to show up for you, Jonathan. Every day. For the rest of our lives. You're my home. You have always been my home. The minister smiled. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Jonathan pulled Nicole close and kissed her. The guests erupted into applause. Somewhere in the front row, Ellie squealed with delight, and Ethan made a sound that might have been laughter. They were a family. Officially. Finally. Completely. The reception was held in a tent decorated with white flowers and golden lights. There was food and music and dancing and laughter. Grandma Ruth gave a speech that made everyone cry. Gregory gave a speech that made everyone laugh. As the evening wore on, Jonathan and Nicole slipped away for a moment of quiet. They stood at the edge of the garden, looking up at the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Happy? Jonathan asked. More than I ever thought possible. He wrapped his arm around her. This is just the beginning. We have a whole lifetime ahead of us. I know. She leaned into him. And I cannot wait for every moment of it. They stood there together, watching the stars come out, thinking about all the moments that had led to this one. The chance meeting. The falling in love. The devastating lies. The painful separation. The impossible reunion. The slow rebuilding of trust. The proposal. The wedding. Every step, even the hard ones, had brought them here. And here was exactly where they were meant to be. Later, when the reception was winding down and the guests were saying their goodbyes, Jonathan gathered everyone's attention for one final announcement. Before we end this perfect day, I want to say something. Nicole and I are so grateful to everyone who came to celebrate with us. Your love and support mean the world to us. He looked at his wife, his mother, his grandmother-in-law, his children sleeping peacefully in their carriers. We are starting a new chapter. As a family. And we could not be happier. He raised his glass. To new beginnings. To love that never gives up. To kindness that heals old wounds. To hope that leads us home. Everyone raised their glasses. To new beginnings, they echoed. And then, because it was that time of year, because the calendar was turning over to something fresh and new, because there was no better time to look forward with hope, Jonathan added. And Happy New Year to everyone. May this year bring you as much joy as it has brought us. May you find love. May you find family. May you find your way back to whoever is waiting for you. The guests cheered. The baby stirred but did not wake. Nicole looked at Jonathan with tears of happiness in her eyes. Happy New Year, she whispered. Happy New Year, he whispered back. They kissed again, surrounded by family and friends and the promise of everything still to come. The story of Jonathan and Nicole Wright was just beginning, and it was going to be beautiful.